I don't remember a time when curling wasn't a part of my life. When I wasn't putting in the sweat and hard work to be the best that I can be. Clocking in the time, the effort to practice day in, day out. Curling is more than just a game. It's a family, a community. And when it's time to play, I know I'll be ready. Hardline, supporting hundreds of our next generation athletes.
We got you. A very pleasant good day and welcome to the Saville Community Sports Center in Edmonton, Alberta. It's a Saville Grand Prix and it's a semifinals here between Kevin Koey and Korey Dropkin. Thank you very much for joining us today. I'm Dave Schmel. I'm joined by Shawn, Joyce, and Shawn. Two good teams here who's had a pretty great weekend for both of them.
Yeah, you know, that's what you always expect on Sunday. You're down to the championship round. You're seeing teams that are playing at their best or they wouldn't be here on Sunday. Koey coming in with an undefeated record. By virtue of that, he is the higher seed here and has last rock in the opening end of play. They're throwing the Yellowstones, and Dropkin calls for the center guard just touching the center line. I had a chance to watch one of their games yesterday. You are much more familiar than I am, Dave, with the Dropkin team.
Yeah, absolutely. The team from the U.S.
And they started with the wrong color. We talked about this in the opening because Koey's game this morning in the quarterfinal, the two teams put the colors up on the scoreboard and played the first two ends with the wrong colors. And they did it again here. And I mean, we saw them in practice, so we knew they were throwing the right color in practice. And they start off the game with the wrong stone.
Yeah, Lance is off to a good start there. He's got a good smile on his face. That's Lance Wheeler. He is subbing in on Team Dropkin this week.
Team Koey playing without a sub. They've been playing three-handed most of the season now. Aaron Sluchinski is the new player on the team, but he's away playing at a doubles event trying to qualify for the Olympic trials. I think they play next weekend at the Slam, and if they have four, they might find it a little crowded out there.
Yeah, they might. They've been playing three for a while now.
They're not used to playing with that many bodies on the ice.
Yeah, Lance Wheeler generally plays with Scott Dunham. And Lance is out of Denver, Colorado. Mark Fenner is still working to come back from an injury he's been working through. But so here's Lance Wheeler, also known as Fake Fenner this week.
Is that what we're going with? We still have to see who's throwing which order. They've mixed the order up a little bit this weekend, from what I understand.
Yes,
I saw their last round robin game, and Thomas Howell was throwing the third stones, and I think he's generally in the house for Korey's last one anyway, isn't he?
I've seen that go back and forth.
Oh, that's gone back and forth too? Okay.
Still trying to figure out the secret sauce, I guess. But we do know this is Carrick Martin. Carrick getting to throw all three here. This one needs to come in a little bit.
Yeah, if he's got the right weight, it should move up at the end.
There's a good finish there.
Well, not enough to stick around, though.
That's true. But now it's going to be a draw under cover, and it's going to be thrown by Andrew Stopera. So there we have our answer.
Absolutely critical to throw a yellow stone here, and he's got one. That's good.
That is why you have some of the best insight of all curling, Shawn.
I don't know that I've ever seen a game like this morning where it was two ends where the two teams both didn't realize they weren't throwing the same colors as what they had on the scoreboard, and then to see it happen. Koey was one of those teams. To see it happen right away to start the second game, it's kind of funny.
Pretty good effort off the jump from Andrew there.
That was the fifth stone of the end. I think Kevin took a quick look over his shoulder to make sure of that. Now a chance to play the run back. This might be the one thing that catches them when they've only got 3 players. Kevin was ready to play the run back and then saw Carrick still sitting in the hack and thought, oh, I better count. Yeah, that's 5. Carrick doesn't usually get to play these.
He's been throwing them pretty well, though, in the times we've seen him. It's not the first time. Of course, he goes and jams that one.
Still a slightly better situation. The yellow's a little bit further out into the open, and now it's a redstone if they're trying to run it back on the next one.
Certainly. So now a couple options here. It looks like Korey wants to come right on in. It is Cooey with a hammer here throwing those redstones. And that's Team Dropkin throwing the yellow. That's right, the yellow stones.
Sometimes. I haven't seen anybody throw a blue handle yet. This weekend.
No. We left them in Martinsville.
I do think the call was to come right in when they realized it was short, leaving it nice and high. You know the double peel attempt is coming. Tyler Tardy made a lot of these this morning. Actually made a quad at one point in time too, running things back. So you expect him to be close on the double, and if he gets the double, that red's liable to come back into the rings.
Tardy on the peel attempt. Hit the 1, make the 2, and away they go. Wide open house. Great shot by Tyler Tardy. So now without any guards to really speak of, throwing another one up here.
Yeah, he'll just try to cover shot rock, and it's the battle here is always like, how long do you want this to be? If you're too tight, they're going to try to run the double. Probably going to try to run the double no matter what if you line it up. But if you're a little offline, they might go directly at shot rock. If you're too high, they might go directly at shot rock too. This is going to be tighter than they wanted. It's going to leave a double opportunity, and they'll be in the rings.
Broom goes right down for Tardy, and the shot comes right on out.
Yeah, you got to be quick for Tyler Tardy or you won't get him on camera because he's coming.
Tardy gets 1 and 2, and away they go. Broom goes right down for Tardy, and the shot comes right on out.
Yeah, you got to be quick for Tyler Tardy or you won't get him on camera because he's coming.
Tardy gets 1 and 2, and away.
He might be the only guy on the team that's ever worried about banking time. They could stand to do a little more of that sometimes.
See Lance working this one over, and it will just hold on to the edge of the rings. This one coming across from Tardy makes that no problem. Long roll, and it will find its way out.
Out of the rings and all the way out of play.
So nothing to draw to, nothing to freeze to, nowhere to hide.
Well, you could draw around that red corner guard, but I don't think you'd be in the rings. You'd probably, if you got to the tee line, you'd be touching the sideboard and they'd kick it to the back corner anyway. However, if it's what he's got left on his next one, Korey will try to draw over or roll over there somewhere and at least put that guard into Kevin's eye for his final shot for the blank. So he'd probably like to be close to the tee line here. If Kevin hits it on the nose, then you can try to play that rollover towards the corner. pretty good spot. It's high enough now that if Kevin hits it right on the nose, then when you play that rollover towards the corner, you can get as wide on the side of the house as is possible without rolling out. You'd be close to the tee line. And, just that guard isn't really going to be able to stop the blank attempt, but you can put it in his eye at least. You might force him to play the in-turn.
And up and down the sheet we go.
I like to see it.
Yeah, if nothing else, that's okay. Sorry about that, Shawn. If nothing else, it gives both teams a chance to check out a couple different lines on the ice.
Yeah. I like to see a team in a spot like this play aggressively for that roll, because your chances are you're going to be stuck with a blank anyway. If you roll out, so what? Try to make a good shot.
There's no reason not to try to challenge your opponent, because we see these things go, blank attempts go wrong all the time.
Ooh, this is going wrong.
Like this one?
Yeah, I don't know if he's going to hit it.
Oh, he hits it. Can you still get it out? Please don't say we cursed it and we didn't. And this one's going to go.
Judging by the body language, I think Korey's not real sure what happened to that. Like, he certainly didn't have big weight, and that didn't do anything.
No, it did not. So here with the final rock of the first end, it's going to go through the house. The blank will go on the board. We'll be back with the second end coverage from Saville Grand Prix right after this on Curling Stadium.
For over a decade. Engineered with top-tier precision and durability, it is backed by an unmatched 10-year warranty. Designed for curlers at all levels to sweep effortlessly with maximum efficiency, it is trusted by the world's best curlers, including Olympic and world champions. It is quite simply the best brew in the game. Hardline. Join the revolution.
What do you got? You got one, you got two, yeah!
Just one more throw, please.
You make moments like these possible.
We're back here in end number 2 of the Saville Grand Prix from the Saville Community Sports Center in Edmonton, Alberta. Broom goes right down. Here's another good look at that shot from Tyler Tardy. It was here and it went away. And we're back here for end number 2. It's still Kevin Cooey with the hammer. I'm Dave Schmel. He's Shawn, Joyce, and Connor Sims is having fun with the replay machine.
It looks like we're going to see a bit of a defensive end here. The first stone brought into the top of the forefoot. Yeah, a lot of times, especially in an even end, you'll see the team with last rock through the corner guard. They're trying the hit here, and Garrett Martin slides by it.
Okay, now.
Well, maybe we won't see a defensive end. We were seeing an attempt at a defensive end.
Yeah, well, sometimes opportunity comes to you, so now it's time for Lance Wheeler to throw the guard up. And with the free guard zone being available, nice and tight, nothing wrong with that. Want to get tight to the rings on the center.
Yeah, the no tick zone is a factor as well. He's got to get back to the center line here. Doesn't necessarily have to dead bury the shot rock, but he has to be tight touching center, and he's not. So they can make a play on that stone in the rings, and if they happen to rub the guard going by, as long as they don't push it all the way to the boards, that's legal. Looks like they've opted to play it just as a freeze.
Well over 600 of you watching us thus far. Thank you so much for watching Curling Zone and Curling Stadium. And if you haven't yet, please like and subscribe. It really helps out us and help you bring us more curling.
If we get enough subscribers, we might be able to find somebody to hold that camera steady.
Yeah, or, maybe install an earthquake protection system. I was wondering what was happening there for a second.
I'm not sure. I haven't been to the Saville Center, so I haven't seen how the cameras are set up. I do some work with the provincial championship curling here in Saskatchewan, and I know that with our situation, every time you go into a new building, you have to set up according to what's available there. And we have seen in times where you get a little bit too close to the vent, and whenever the heat cuts in, it jiggles the camera a little bit.
Yeah,
Don't think that could be the case here because it's only happened once or twice all weekend. But
for us, it's usually the dehumidifiers. So we have shot stone right now for Korey Dropkin.
The red stone in the middle is not going anywhere. Kevin can play that any time. Not necessarily playing it with a takeout here. Looking at playing the guard off, roll over. Looking at playing the guard back too, I think. Just to pick that yellow off the top of the 8-foot. I think that might be what he settled on here. I don't think from the way he gestured that they're looking to get rid of the shot rock. Just run this almost straight back, pick the one out of the top of the 8-foot and leave that red-yellow freeze alone for now. He can play that later.
So here's a shot from Carrick Martin. Look, waiting for it to curl up just a little bit. This is really close to where they want to hit it. On the one, and they just pick it off. They do move, disturb that freeze a little bit, though.
Left a good angle, but can he get to the inside? Korey thinks they can. Yellow at the back of the 4-foot, still shot rock. You've got to get to the inside if you're going to play this. Anything on the outside, you're jamming it. Nose is probably making contact with that stone at the back.
So here's Sopera. Lance indicating it's a little bit down weight. Now try to carve it over, does Wheeler. Gonna get up to the face. You get all the way past. No, it does jam on, leaving Cooey shot rock.
Yeah, the stone at the top of the 8 is still in a dangerous position, so Kevin can't really ignore it. Can't try to roll behind off of it. Try to make the roll to the corner. There's still a chance you could jam on the yellow at the back and leave them sitting shot. You'd probably play this as a double, and if you roll out, so what?
Here's Tardy. Gonna catch just a big half of it. You clear the one out, kick it out the side, and they lie first and third.
That's a pretty good result. Shot rock is open. You see Korey talking about making the hit and roll underneath. It is a red guard, and this is the Cooey team. So you make that roll underneath. If you make it too good, they could opt to play the run back, and it would be a chance for the run double. Got to get a roll, though. If you hit this on the nose, the double's there without playing a run back.
The shot from Hal.
This has got a curl.
Wheeler's all over it, trying to bring it over.
Got to get some kind of roll.
Gonna get a little bit of a roll. Just a skosh.
Enough to make sure that they can't play the double, yeah.
So you see the indication like about hack weight there. You're right. Tardy doesn't waste any time. He's not late. This one needs to curl.
Yeah, he's got a very pronounced backwards motion on his out turn. Now with the quiet weight, it'll still come up late, but he's going to roll out enough that it gives Korey the chance to get underneath the guard again. It's a little wider this time.
Indicating for a little bit more weight, for board weight. Shot on the way from Hal.
Yeah, that did not look wide.
It's catching that same spot where everything's been running.
It's holding. He's got to get a piece underneath. It's starting to curl. They kind of got caught there. They were trying to sweep for curl, and you saw Lance Wheeler actually had to swing around to the other side because it started to over curl on them, and they've left the double.
And as Kevin calls a shot, we'd like to welcome the most famous dad in curling to the chat. Fred Cooey's on the air. So you like making this double here, just right in the middle?
Well, that's what they're discussing is how do they want to do it, because they're so even. You actually could try to spin after you make the double. They're playing the double for sure. The question is how do you want to hit it? You could hit either one first too. That's what all the discussion there was about. If you're too big on the weight and you hit him right in the middle, you could squirt right through. No, he doesn't. That's good.
All right, so they sit 2. Do you think Korey's going to take this long one on?
Well, probably not on this first one, but you'd like to make the hit on the higher one now and hope that you get a better angle for a double on the next one. Now, in order to do that, you do have to roll into the 8-foot because you've got to make Kevin hit this on the next one. So you play to hit, roll over enough to be shot rock. Kevin has to hit it. If he hits it on the nose, bring it up, say a rock and a half higher, and now you'll have a better angle to try the double. If you just hit this on the nose, Kevin can ignore it. So you have to roll in to be shot. I guess the other options, you could try to roll right to the back of the 8-foot, and then when Kevin hits it, you might have a double off the other stone too. But regardless, you've got to be shot rock after this, or Kevin doesn't have to play at this one at all.
So now here's Korey Dropkin with his first and his second come with the heat. Gonna try to make that double, I do believe. Got the one to get all the way across. Come on across. Get on over and get on out. Oh, almost. What a great effort.
Yeah, it was a good try. I'm not sure I would have been giving that a shot yet on the first one. I think you might have had a shot for a better one on the second one. I still think you would have needed to throw some weight because you're trying to get a very flat roll just about 2 feet across on your first one, but this is a really outstanding effort. He threw the out turn so that you get a little bit more action off the hit. Gear effect on the stone. Andrew Stapera was ready on the contact to try to get that red to go straight sideways and out, but it sticks around.
That was ever so close to being fantastic.
Yeah. You know, but it puts a question into mind now for Kevin Cooey. What are you trying to do with this one? Like, if you roll behind, Korey Dropkin probably plays the freeze. Can you get far enough to the inside to roll past the guard? If you stay right there, you've left a double.
So here's the first for Cooey. Martin on this one hard. This is starting to move quite a bit. It's on the inside now. How big is the roll?
Yeah, I would have wanted to roll bigger than that, but that's not bad.
It does.
There's no double.
Roll dead. Yeah, there's no double. It is dead even. So Corey's going to have the hit and stick under cover.
Even if he makes it, there's a lot of room between the guard and where this Yellowstone would end up. Kevin probably is still going to have a shot for 2.
No, absolutely. It's certainly been an interesting end, and I would think you had to be a little bit careful here because this is right along that area where we've seen a few rocks track a bit.
Well, yeah, but I mean, you can't flirt with rubbing the guard. If you hit it on the nose, the worst you're giving up is 2. If you hit the guard,
You
it's
give up
3,
4.
maybe
You give up
4.
4
Yeah,
if
you
you're
could
rolling
push it
money.
in. Yep.
If I hit the guard, I'm giving up 4. I'll tell you
I was
that.
just going to say, we know the caliber of play you get because you already figured if you're hitting that guard, you're putting it in.
This is going to clear the guard. It's not going to get a roll. It's going to be right in the nose. So it'll be pretty much an open hit for Kevin Cooey for 2.
This is where you're tempted to turn around and say, where did you guys have the broom for that shot? And they'll never tell you, damn it. You just need to do the exact same thing you just saw.
We see our chat going back and forth. We have lots of fans for both teams. Great to see. We love seeing the viewership, and ultimately all rooting for our teams, but we're rooting for good curling. We love seeing a good game. Kevin Cooey, final stone, end number 2. Martin's just watching this. This needs to bend.
If he's got the quiet weight, it should move hard from the hog line in.
And there it goes. It walks on up, right on to it. Hang 2 for Cooey. He takes a 2-0 lead. Dropkin will have a hammer in the third when we come back from the Saville Grand Prix. You're watching Curling Stadium.
Imagine being able to stream every curling game from every sheet from any event, be it your Wednesday league game, bonspiel, or corporate event. Curling Stadium offers an all-inclusive streaming solution featuring high-quality cameras, ease of use, great reliability, and minimal installation. Offering your sponsors customizable ad space on your streamed curling games and being able to sell video packages to your corporate events for increased revenue. With Curling Stadium, you can stream to any device, be it your mobile phone, tablet, or computer. Push the feed to your desired platform, be it Facebook, YouTube, or any other social media. Curling Stadium is simply the way forward. Where it's commonplace in other sports to televise every game, we want to do the same. Curling is a global sport, and it's time it gets the coverage it needs. Make your curling club the next Curling Stadium.
And we're back here at number 3 from the Saville Community Sports Center. It's the Saville Grand Prix. 16 teams came together fighting for a purse of $25,000. It was Cooey with the deuce the last end.
Yeah, and with the 2-point lead, they bring the first stone into the rings. The call here is for a corner guard. It's always a little scary when both sweepers are standing straight up.
And
it does stop out front.
It did stop out front for sure. And
you feel like the weight's close when they're bent over. When they're both standing straight up, it almost feels like everybody's sitting there. Whoa, buddy.
And we were talking a little bit in the break, about how great an effort that was by Dropkin there. But you were saying you just thought that was probably one shot too early.
Well, yeah, and only because as we were talking about at the time when he was looking at it, the shot that he played was very, very difficult. Now, he threw it the right way. He threw it with the inside out, which is not the way a lot of people are comfortable playing those long ones, but he gets more action off the shooter by playing that way. He gets the gear effect on the out turn. But it was so long between those two rocks and so flat. If he hits and rolls over for shot rock, he's probably got an easier attempt at a double on his second one. And as it turns out, where he rolled at the first one, he didn't get another chance at a double. So very close to making the shot he called, but there's other ways to play it. And I think he could have set himself up for a slightly easier shot on the second one. He does throw the up weight so well.
Now here's Wheeler, and he makes that double no problem. And is it a guard too? That's really close.
I think it looks like it might be, but we could see the stick come out. You're allowed to measure that to see if it's in. If the two teams can come to an agreement, they don't have to measure it, but they're going to measure. Yeah.
Yeah, they're going to get it. There's the old looking at it, pointing at it.
So they're not too far away. That's unusual. Usually in a 10-sheet facility, when you have to do a measurement at the far end, the biter stick will be behind sheet 10 at the glass. That's just, let's call it Shawn's law. Look at that. You don't expect that from a skip. Smart enough to actually cool off the measuring stick before he puts it on the ice. Not much of a hole in the middle by the looks of it.
We'll figure it out. Maybe we can get don't know if we have the zoom cameras on this sheet.
I don't think they've got the center hole dug out. So they're trying to push the pin in.
Well, that can work if your hand's warm enough. You just need to make sure you put your hand in the right spot.
Well, if that's going to be the center hole for the rest of the game. So if it's a little bit out, you need to know that the rings are going to be out that same direction the whole game.
So here we go. If any part comes into contact, and it cleared without a problem, so that's going to be a guard.
So Carrick Martin being asked to come around it. It isn't on the center line, so if he happens to touch it on the way by, that's not a foul. He'll put it into the rings, and this is the fifth stone of the end, so they can start hitting guards after this.
And this is going to curl past the guard, and will they get it underneath? That's going to be probably just a little bit stronger than they wanted it.
Yeah.
And Korey is going to hit and roll behind.
Yeah, he's just trying to keep the play away from that middle one for now. If he ever gets a rollout, they'll play the split on that. Quiet wait here. This should move from the hog line in.
It moves in, and it does spin back.
Huge spin back, yeah.
Well, that changes the calculus a little bit.
Yeah, they could see a piece of that stone on the outside. The problem is it's awfully hard to hit it and stick, and even if you did, it's so far back. Korey would have his choice of what he wanted to play, so they're going to play the double on the two guards. You might be able to get the back end of the second yellow and get your shooter into the house off this.
This is kind of thick.
Going to get the top end of the yellow and push it into the rings instead.
Oh, boy. So now do you come right under, or do you work off to the side a little bit more?
That is a wonderful question. The problem with coming under is it's such a short run and it's a red stone.
That is what they are going to do. I think
Yeah, I don't think you want it dead buried just because you're coming around a tight rock of the oppositions. You come half around, and then if they make the run back, they're not likely buried. I mean, it is possible to hit it so that you roll them both together, but that's tough. It happens, but it's tough. Got to make the rings, though.
definitely needs to get there. Come on. Stepera is just a little bit light with this one, but it does nibble on. And it is Dropkin sitting 3 with about half a rock in the rings in total. So there's not really an easy out here for Kiwi, is there?
Well, I mean, he's got a couple of ways to hit one. He's looking at, I think, thin on the red, try to get the 2 at the top. There's also the possibility if you hit the red stone on the center line side a little bit, you'll catch the one that's off the center, and it's going to come towards that one at the back, but that's a tough double to call. If you just miss the red stone and nose hit the yellow is not the end of the world here either, but that's essentially what they're playing, to just tick the red on the way by. You can get the 2 yellows at the top. I don't think any of the reds are going to be in the house.
And they're going to pick off their own, and oh my goodness, you get them both.
That's what they were playing, is just to just touch the red stone on the way by, and actually got a biter out of that, which I wasn't sure they were going to be able to do.
That is some interesting cooking there.
Korey indicating it is the yellow at the back that's shot rock. To hit the red and roll in, to roll to the open side, they're risking jamming at the back. You try to roll in towards your own stone, you're going to leave the double.
Is there anything wrong with just splitting the rings at this point?
No, you could do that. You'd want to be T-line or deeper, though, because, again, it's the Kui team. It's the same as Korey Dropkin last time. You leave them across the house double. They're not afraid to play it. They can certainly throw the weight to make it, and the higher you leave it in the rings, the better their chances would be. They're going to come around the redstone again. It's the same problem as the last one. Now, they were short on the last one, but you don't want to be dead behind, I don't think. If you're absolutely dead behind, they run it straight back and they end up guarded on their own stone.
So now Wheeler bringing back Hal's shot. There you go. That's just half under, just a touch behind the tee line, but
yeah,
you see them looking at the double there.
Yeah, it's a little deep. He's got choices. He could freeze to it too, but they're going to play the hit and roll towards the yellow. Not throwing big weight here. This is, you could roll in front of that yellow, and then if you're a little thin on the first contact, you maybe make the double.
Tyler Tardy with his final.
It's going to be close.
It does come on up. It's going to hit. It's going to get that roll over. Not really far enough, but not bad.
Yeah, they lost the line a little bit on that. I think they were worried they were hitting it too thin.
Now, there's not a lot of room for Korey to get a huge roll here.
If he's going to try to roll back towards the middle, he's got to throw weight, because you got to hit it fairly thick, get it underneath the yellow at the back. And that always makes it a little trickier. When you're trying to play a precise hit and roll, you'd like to throw it quieter. They actually did throw it fairly quiet, and that's as far as they could roll with that weight. I mean, he didn't any more than get it by the yellow as it was. It's not bad where it is. There's no easy double.
No, certainly not easy for sure.
Kevin's got to make a decision that if you're going to play the hit and roll, which way are you rolling? You could roll under, or you could try to roll in front of the yellow. He knows which one he's going to play. He just didn't tell us.
Yeah, that's how it goes sometimes, right?
Yeah. And then no matter which one you make, it looks like you made 4 out of 4 on your percentages.
So Kevin Cooley with his first and the third.
Looks like they're trying to roll in front of the yellow. Oh, and then they got caught, plan B, and poor Carrick Martin, you could see him get caught in the middle where they're not sure whether they needed to curl or go straight, and he's trying to go back and forth. That's the one thing that's tough when you've got this one sweeper system and you've only got one guy out there, and he's a guy that's used to sweeping with a gripper and a slider. That sweeping, that going back and forth from one side to the other when you're on a slider, really tough. It's the best way to get maximum pressure on when you're on your natural side, but when you've got to switch back and forth to both sides, you could see him get caught a little bit there.
Yeah, it's a difficult two-step to do for sure.
It's easier with two grippers, but you're sacrificing some pressure on your natural side.
Now here's Dropkin, and where is he looking to leave this?
You know, if it was up to me and if you could do it, I'd like to hit it right on the nose. You stay in front of the tee line that way. You make the hit and roll as tough for Kevin as you possibly can. You might be able to get ever so slightly to the inside because you are just in front of the tee line now.
Now it's taking the curl, and they might just get right up to the nose. Not there, but pretty close.
But that leaves room for Kevin to roll under. That's why you would have liked to have gotten to the nose.
Certainly a game of inches at times.
Yeah, this is a big shot. And, you know, we were just talking about Carrick Martin and the brushing with a gripper and a slider. This would be his offside normally, that he's sweeping for essentially starting out on the side where he can keep this rock straight if he needs to. This would be his normal offside. You wouldn't see him brushing on this side if he had two brushers. Switching around once is easy. If he has to start going back and forth, it gets real tough when you're on a slider, and you can see that foot slipping out.
And it does creep on out the other side.
Yeah, they got caught. They switched him over to the curl side, and then when he had to come back to the straight side, it's hard when you're on a slider to change directions that many times.
So if he thinks he's going to be starting on his offside, would you think that'd be a situation where it might be good to maybe put on that second gripper?
Well, you know, you could. It depends on the brusher. I mean, some of these guys have been sweeping with a gripper and a slider for so long that they're not comfortable with the footwork with two grippers. You get onto a guy, and I know when Carrick was sweeping with Brad Thiessen was a left-hander, so he never would have had to go to the other side. He was always on that side. He was always on what would be considered his natural side. He would have gone gripper and slider the whole time that way. It might be years since he's tried to sweep with two grippers. He just might not be comfortable with it. The footwork is different. It's very different when you're sweeping with two grippers.
Now here's Korey Dropkin. Needs to hit and stick to get his deuce. Final stone in the third end. Keeping a broom down on it is Lance Wheeler now. Hold the line, walk it down. Looks pretty good. And right up to it, you got your 2, no problem. And we're all tied up after 3. Cooey will have the hammer in the 4th when we come back. You're watching Curling Stadium.
I don't remember a time when curling wasn't a part of my life. When I wasn't putting in the sweat and hard work to be the best that I can be. Clocking in the time, the effort to practice day in, day out. Curling is more than just a game. It's a family, a community. And when it's time to play, I know I'll be ready. Hardline, supporting hundreds of our next generation athletes.
For over 20 years, the Sandra Schmerler Foundation has granted more than $9 million to hospitals across Canada for life-saving equipment for premature and critically ill babies. In the past 4 years alone, $4 million has been granted thanks to the curling community's incredible generosity. The need continues year-round, and with your help, we can ensure every baby has the chance to grow up and become a champion, just like Sandra.
Join us this March for the House of Hearts Charity Bonspiel in Duluth, Minnesota. Help raise funds for Project Joy, who provides meals for hungry kids in our community. Every donation helps to ensure no child goes hungry. Join us and make a difference. Together,
in the Continental there. And we're back here in end number 4. We have a tied-up matchup between Kevin Cooey and Korey Dropkin. Dave Schmel and Shawn Joyce with you. And a good end for Dropkin there, putting up the deuce with a response there.
Yeah, he was able to hold that for most of the end and got his deuce. Looks like both teams willing to play a little bit aggressively here in this 4th end. We see the center guard go up and now a corner. Now hopefully a corner. Now if it stops, it's a corner.
And
it's a corner.
And it's a corner.
I joke a little bit, but I did see one of those in the quarterfinal this morning that it just kept sliding to the corner. Now, granted, that was later in the game, and we were wondering maybe they were seeing some fudging in the middle because, well, they had to draw to the corner in 7. A few rocks slid a little deep on them, and they had a couple of rocks stop short coming to the middle. So that's maybe something to watch here as this game goes on as well. Without mics, you can't really tell. You don't hear the comments from the players to know whether they're having to throw more through the middle as the game wears on. But with so much of the play going to the middle, that can happen. Pebble gets a little flat in the middle later in the game.
So that one's a little bit deep, so now Carrick gets to come right on in. So what's your ideal depth for this, Shawn?
Well, I think you want to be shot rock, but maybe no more than half 4 foot. And the other side of it is that because there's a yellow at the back, we talked about this last end, when you're trying to come around the opposition's rock, you don't necessarily want to be dead in behind. But here you could afford to be dead in behind because if you line everything up for them to play the straight back run and stick it on the red, they're probably going to jam the yellow at the back. That's pretty good. Got just far enough to be shot rock.
Almost like they were hearing you talk. They made you look really smart there.
Well, they're not too worried about what I said. They know what they're doing out there.
All right, so Korey wants to corner the rock that was just thrown.
Yeah, he's got room to do it on the intern side. That's, Carrick might have liked to get that one dead buried in this situation because there's another rock behind it. This allows Andrews to pair. If he can get the corner on this side, there'll be room to pass it by the stone at the back. It's all about setting up angles at this point in the end. This is really going hard. I don't know if he's getting by the guard. He's light.
It is light and it will wreck. So does leave those two guards that they can use later. Obviously, Kevin has to take a look at that and consider that in his shot selection.
Yeah, he doesn't love them, but how do you get rid of them? So he's going to look to actually hit the tighter of the two guards first, come into the side of the one that was just thrown and try to kick it over the top of the red at the side. He doesn't want to disturb his corner guard. That's part of the issue here.
Right. If you're saying you hit the one that's basically touching the center line first.
Yeah, and it's a little bit behind the other one. So you come dead into the side of the other one and you kick it straight sideways. It'll go over the top of that corner guard and you leave the corner guard there. You hit them right in the middle. So you hit them at the same time and you may well lose all three guards. And then you're probably fighting for a blank end, which in the fourth is probably not Kevin's first thought. You'd like to play a little bit more aggressively in an even end.
Martin hits it just like that, but he does jam onto his own.
He hit the other one first. Or at the same time. It's hard
it was
to tell
really,
for
really
sure,
close.
But yeah, he needed to hit the back stone first and come into the side of that second stone.
He hit them exactly at the same time.
Pretty close to exactly the same time, yeah.
So now, game on here for Dropkin, and the heat just came on in Edmonton. Now they're sweeping into curl. Gonna end up just clearing it, rolling off to the side, and it is Dropkin sitting two.
Pretty good shot. Probably the best he could do with it. He had to pass it by the back one, and he had to make sure that he held the shooter, and he did both of those.
And here's Tyler Tardy.
This time looking to be right back to that stone at the back of the 4 foot. You keep your shot for two alive, but this is your way to maybe bring the blank back into play too. Not that that's their first thought, but it's not shaping up great for a deuce right now.
And this does come to the back, so.
Yeah, that's a really good shot. Korey can't get it out right now. He's going to have to break the freeze. And, the saver for Kevin Koe is if Korey Dropkin's team's able to make this sit on the face of that red, it's still going to be fully behind the tee line. There's still something for Kevin to work with here.
A little bit of housekeeping there. And Tom Howe settles in.
Important to get to the nose on this, because if he stays a little bit broom side, he's just going to leave the yellow, red, yellow lined up.
Now Wheeler looking to hold the line.
Yeah, this is really going.
It's going, but will end up in a decent place. Does break the freeze, and I don't think that's too bad.
No, that was a good job by the brushers. I was afraid when that started to curl, it looked like he might roll off the red, and they're able to hold it straight enough to stay in front of that red stone. That's a great shot. Be the same thing now for Kevin. They need to break the existing freeze, and they can get shot rock if they get to the. I think if they get to the nose, their shot. Certainly, if they get any sliver to the inside, their shot. But it's now getting really hard to score too.
So now Tardy, and this is not going to get up to the inside, I don't think. Only gets to the nose.
Yeah, it's not horrible though, because it's the red yellow is lined up to catch a piece of that back yellow, which brings that red at the back of the 8-foot into play.
So it looks like Corey's first instinct is to try to get to the inside corner.
Yeah, you can get there.
Here's Tom Howell with his final rock of the fourth rather. This one is tracking. Now we're going to try to work it over.
Yeah, this looks like a little bit more weight.
Now it takes a big finish there.
Actually, the weight wasn't bad. I'm not sure why that tracked so much early. They ended up with pretty good line. Now, Koey is still shot rock right now. Is there quad there?
That's not a sentence I'm usually saying.
Well, if you hit half a rock, do you get all 4 yellows? It's close.
So you hit half a rock of the one that was just thrown.
The shooter comes across, takes the one in the 12-foot. That rock in the 4-foot goes over the top slightly on the one at the back 8-foot, which pushes it straight back. Tyler Tardy's already made one quad today, and it might be there to make another one. He's going to have to hit this just a little thicker.
This is a little thin, and it just gets the one over the top and out the side.
Just looking at the angles, the way those went by, though, and they were both close, I think it was there.
Oh, I certainly think so, too.
So Corey will breathe a little sigh of relief and now figure out, okay, what do we do with the next one? Because it's still not easy to get this redstone out. Like, they can move it, but it's hard to pass it by everything at the back.
I think we've seen enough finish. I think you can make it over that.
Well, I think you could jam it on the red. I'm not sure you can get over the top of the red. And I mean, if you jam it on the red and you roll in, you're still sitting 2. But the one you're behind is a redstone, and Kevin Koey's about to throw.
There's always that.
Yeah. Well, and you might force them to play the run, too, because if you make this little roll, you're in front of the tee line. I don't know what else he's going to have. Depends where this comes to rest, but...
Yeah, definitely be one of those situations you go and throw a shot, you make it, you end up daring them into throwing the tougher shot.
Yeah,
that will kill you. And Kevin Koey is not a guy I want to dare. So here's Dropkin.
They're already sweeping this to curl.
Stopera trying to bring it over.
Oh, and it took a big hook.
Yeah, the same spot we seen them take off a little bit earlier. They do get it by. They sit 1, 2, 3 behind the tee line right now.
Yeah, they rolled out into the open, though.
Yeah.
Kevin will probably look to put something, it looks like what they're talking about, put something in behind cover in the top of the 4-foot on this one, and then you have to be real careful if you're Korey Dropkin, because I wonder if he had to throw it with his last, no, I guess he'd have to get all 4 of them to do it that way. I was thinking he'd come off the side yellow one into those 2 at the back of the 4-foot, which he could do, but I don't see how he moves the back yellow one doing that.
So you're saying full 4, top 4?
Yeah, and you can leave this a piece out on the broom side, because those 2 yellows on the other side of the 4-foot at the back are just rocks that it could be jammed on. Corey's not really going to be able to make a play on it that direction.
So here's Koey with this first, the 4-time Brier champion. Martin just off and on, kind of happy with the weight.
Line's really good. They want this to stop in front of the tee line, though.
And it does scoot just behind. Now you had to worry, like, obviously coming right down to it sounds great, but is that top red going to be able to run into it?
Well, I mean, if you're sitting right on the face of it, the run back on the red doesn't do them any good. And especially with all those yellows around, I don't think you're going to throw anything with weight when there's a chance that you could kill the reds and give up a huge steal. As long as you get to the nose or the inside, you should be fine. And if your draw weight's close, this should have no shortage of curl. We saw the last one actually over curled on them. You'd hate to be on the outside, but if he's got draw weight, I don't think there's any chance it runs that straight.
All right, it's a big shot here for Korey Dropkin.
They do have to be a little bit patient. You saw them even on the last stone. They swept for curl early, and they actually over curled it. So don't want to make that same mistake again.
So here's Dropkin with his last. Wheeler keeping a broom down on it. Off and on. They're pretty happy with it now. Get it there for the weight. They love the line. It's got to get there. Has to get there to be any good. You got to get all the way down. And I don't think you got there.
No, it comes up just a little bit short. Cooey still shot rock.
But
well, he's probably got room to try it on the in-turn, but it's not without risk. I'm just looking at the camera view from the hack. That little piece of button that you can see on the in-turn side, pardon me. It looks like that might be enough button to get second shot.
And they were waiting for that line to be perfect on that shot and just an ounce too long. Because if they had left any kind of an angle there, that was not good. Ooh.
Yeah, if they stay on the outside of it, but again, I don't think that was ever a concern. Like, we just haven't seen anything stay straight out there. They've had a couple of rocks that they swept it to curl and it over curled. The curl's all late, but it's there. It's you never have to worry about a draw not curling. It's going to go from the hog line in. It's going to go crazy.
The boys certainly wish they had that back. Kevin Cooey, final stone, end number 4. He needs to make a really cute shot here to get a deuce. He lies 1. Martin bringing in. It's off the guard now. Will they get the piece of the button that they need? Martin walks it down, and it will be short, so it's just a single point for Kevin Cooey.
Line was probably there. He just didn't quite have the weight.
It's 1 for Cooey. It's a 3-2 lead after 4. We'll be back for the Saville Grand Prix right after this.
Handcrafted in Canada, Hardline's ice pad has revolutionized curling for over a decade. Engineered with top-tier precision and durability, it is backed by an unmatched 10-year warranty. Designed for curlers at all levels to sweep effortlessly with maximum efficiency, it is trusted by the world's best curlers, including Olympic and world champions. It is quite simply the best brew in the game. Hardline. Join the revolution.
Everything I've worked for, everything I've sacrificed, has led to this. It's out of your hands now. All the gold medals in the world can't help you now. You could throw the perfect rock and still miss. But it just takes one. You leave it all out there on the ice to leave behind a legacy.
This is it. It all comes down to this rock. The hours in the gym, the weeks away from my family. This is what I've been training for. And all those voices trying to tear me down, I'm here to silence them. We've given everything we have for a chance to get everything we want.
When we come back. And we're back here in the fifth end from the Saville Grand Prix. It was Kevin Cooey with the single. Oh, so close on the brush for Korey Dropkin there to have an opportunity. And now that we're here in the fourth end break, Shawn, why don't you take a look at the other scores that we have?
Yeah, the other undefeated team on the men's side, Takumi Maeda, playing in the other semifinal against Zach Davies, and Maeda has a 2-1 lead there. Our line scores online showing through 3, but I've just pulled the video up myself, and they're actually through 4. They're into the fifth end now. It's still 2-1 for Maeda there. So close games in both of these men's semifinals. And on the women's side, Sungyeon Ha out of Korea with a 6-2 lead so far over Isabel Rana. That game in the fourth end, Rana has last rock there. And Caitlin Law is trailing Carrie Anerson by a score of 3-1. That's a rematch from the last round of the round robin last night. Anerson needed the win just to get into the playoffs last night and had a big victory. I think it only took 5 ends last night, and up early with last rock as they play there in the fifth. Everybody looking to be back on the ice in about 2 hours' time for the finals.
It sounds like a great plan, and it hasn't been the easiest campaign thus far for Team Cooey this year.
No, well, they had some struggles early, and possibly that had to do with some lineup issues. They had a player, and I'm not going to name any names. They had a player that maybe wasn't playing quite up to the standard that he's used to early on in the season. They elected to make a change, but took them a couple of weeks to find that replacement player. They've played some events shorthanded, and even now they're set. They've got their 4-player lineup again, but Aaron Sluchinski also has a commitment to play mixed doubles, trying to get into the Olympics that way as well, and was away this weekend to play in the qualifier in that. And it means they really haven't had a chance to play with what is going to be their 4-player lineup for the rest of the season. They haven't had a chance to play together a lot yet. And I think they play, I don't have all of the schedule in front of me, but I think there's a slam starting next week, and they should have the full 4-player lineup together for that. And I'm not sure that won't be the first time they've had the chance to play together.
I certainly will be interested in watching that to see how that team gels together.
The other thing I'm slightly interested in, and maybe somebody who's watching will know and they can chime in, because I haven't heard what like Aaron Sluchinski was skipping his own team at the start of this year, and they were having some success. When he left, the other 3 players, I haven't heard what they're doing. I don't know whether they've picked up the 4th player yet, or if they've been playing shorthanded, or if they're playing at all. I haven't heard. It's a good team.
So was that single point for Kevin Cooey in the fourth end, and Dropkin now with the hammer. Center guard goes up.
Not touching the line, though. I don't know how much these teams worry about it. It's certainly something you'd think about. We talked about it earlier, but at a club level. And I think more and more, I saw it at my home club just a couple of days ago. They sent out an email because, as I understand it, Curling Canada is going to introduce the no-tick zone as part of the rules for general play. Our club is not going to play that rule for the rest of this season, but here's a good look at the scenario, because that rock was not touching the center line. That was legal. Now, where I was going with that, a lot of times prior to the no-tick zone, if the team was coming around a center guard like that, you might tight ice it and certainly you'd play that a lot of times at the club level even still, because if you rub that guard going by, you get the tick. So you're playing the come around, but if you tick, it's not the end of the world. If you put that guard on the center line, you can't do that. And what that does, it's a subtle change, but it forces those teams to take a couple of inches more ice. And maybe they don't get it buried quite as well when they do that. So the obvious change is that you've taken away the intentional tick shot, but it also changes the way teams approach a shot like what we just saw. Makes it interesting.
And this one is touching the center line, so now Korey doesn't have that option. He's got to wrap all the way around.
No, well, but in this case, he's got to go wide enough to get by his own yellow anyway, so he's going to have to take a lot more ice. He's not going to be anywhere near the red one. The center of the house is probably a little more congested than Korey would like. Can't do much about that yet. This is gone. Not sure what happened to that. That does not look like a natural move, though. Actually gets all the way across that stone. 4 guards out in front now, all protecting at least a piece of the 4-foot. This is not the end Korey Dropkin wanted to see.
So now going to try to get Carrick to bring one in there. This one is hanging out there now. Now it's going to put the blinker on and take that left turn. It looks pretty good.
Bites the top of the 4-foot. Now the lineup and all those guards starts to matter. Is there a way to get 2 or 3 of them to go here?
Yeah, Korey has to make some of these moves, so here comes Topera. And they do all indeed move.
That's a good shot. I wasn't sure if the third one was going to go or if it was going to dead jam.
Clean up on sheet 3.
One more look at it. With the angle, you knew that the yellow-red combination was pretty easy. The question was, how was that red going to hit the second Yellowstone? And it comes just across the top enough for the red stone to scoot over to the side and out of play. Opens things up in the middle.
So now in this situation, do you think Korey might try to steer this towards a blank at this point?
Well, yeah. I mean, he's not set up well to score here. It is the 5th end. He wouldn't mind having the last rock in the even end anyway. He's got some work to do to get back towards a blank yet, for that matter. Well, as soon as we say that, he's talking about playing the freeze. I like the double peel.
Yep.
That's what he's going to play, I think. There's actually the chance, if you hit this right, you could get all 3 red ones.
And I'd like to thank Korey for doing the broom telestrating for us.
Yeah, until Jerry finds a way for us to draw on the screen, we kind of need the players to do it. I mean, I could draw on the screen, but it's my own.
There's one, two. Can you get the other one on the way by? No, you can't, but that's a nice double peel there.
Yeah. Needs to hit the first one just a hair thicker. Then he hits that second one thinner. You saw Korey get into position. He was looking at the angle as to how it was going to catch that second red stone. If it catches the second one a little bit thinner, it's close to the third one. But getting the 2 of them out there was important, because now this guard has to be perfect. And this is awfully long. And it's overcurled. There's room for him to get at that stone.
Can certainly dig at it. Now, if you stay there, it's going to be just as long and as gettable for Kiwi.
Yeah. Yeah, still has to be made, though.
This
Once
one
they're
does need a curl.
Yeah, once they're sure they're by, they switch the sweep for the extra curl. And again, with that quiet weight, you know they're going to move at the end.
Absolutely. Nice shot.
Now the difference here is we got a left-hander throwing, so it's an in-turn.
And of course, it's already on the way. It's already wasting no time. And perhaps he should have taken a moment more.
Yeah, not able to get by. Might not have had the weight. Don't think he's getting that out if he does get by.
So now Korey all of a sudden has an opportunity here.
Yeah, but and I can see what his dilemma is. Where do you put this? I mean, that stone that's sitting shot rock at the top of the 8 foot, it's hard to bring another one in for second anywhere where you're not going to have a double off that. He's actually looking at bringing it behind the tee line just to make the double more difficult. Anywhere in the top of the house, it's probably a pretty makeable double for a team like Kevin Koe.
So here's the delivery from Hal. It's to pair with the broom on it.
Looks like a lot of room now, but again, from the hog line in with draw weight, this will go sideways.
This is not light.
Yeah, it's not the light side of draw weight.
So the double is there for Koe if he wants it.
It's there. He could also hit and roll under for shot. You know, that was, you're trying to put that rock on the tee line. Then if he plays the hit and roll under, he's not shot rock. So he's got that as an option. He's got the double.
And if you had that in a cup of coffee, which would you throw?
I'd be really tempted to play the hit and roll, I think. The double's kind of all or nothing right now. If you play the hit and roll and you don't get it perfectly, there's still going to be a chance on your next one, likely. Boy, if you ever played the double and jammed it, you could still give up 3 this end. So I think he's playing the hit and roll behind cover. I like the call. For that matter, if you play the double and make it, you're probably giving Korey Dropkin a pretty easy blank.
So Kevin Koe with his first. Going to be pretty much right in the nose. And not shot stone. It is shot stone.
Yeah, it is shot stone. But now if Korey can get the hit and roll under, he would be sitting 2 buried. Now, granted, that one at the back is well back there. But you might force Kevin Koe to play some kind of draw, and that could bring 3 into play. Of course, the other side of that is he could make the draw and force you to 1. It's that's the dilemma you're into. You force the guy to make a good shot, and if he makes it, suddenly you only get a shot for 1.
Yeah, but how many times do you get to say I have a fair chance to make 3.
Well, that's just it. I mean, if you get the hit and roll undercover here, I don't think he can do anything with the top one. He can probably freeze the back one.
I definitely think this is a play you have to make.
Yeah, no, I agree.
So Korey Dropkin, currently in Duluth, Minnesota.
Well, he's currently in Edmonton, Alberta. He's
via Duluth, Minnesota. With this first rock here, this is just going to come up to the nose and stick. And they lie too.
Yeah, it still changes the shot for Kevin Cooey. The hit and roll in won't be shot rock now, so he has to play the double.
So you got to hit this, maybe 3/8 of an inch off a center?
Well, maybe a little bit more than that. Like about a 3/4 is close, thick 3/4. The thing about it is if you make the double, it's still an easy blank. So, not a bad situation for Korey Dropkin. He's either going to get a shot at 2 or a shot at the blank. He'll be happy with either.
Cooey with the back swing and the delivery.
Might have
this
to go
one
over
needs
the top.
to come up. This one needs to come on up. It's going to come up over the top and catch it. And there you go. You got an empty house.
Yeah, the blank just got easier still.
Now, I've been accused of jinxing Korey a few times. I am fairly confident this blank will be made, but great shot there by Kevin Cooey.
Yeah, I wasn't too sure that they weren't going to have to call the sweep on to go plan B. I don't think they were initially playing it to go over the top, but once you realized you'd hate for that to curl another inch and dead nut jam it.
Final stone of the 5th, and Korey's just going to throw it through for the blank. And it will be Team Dropkin retaining the hammer, trailing 1 in the 6th. When we come back, you're watching Curling Stadium.
Handcrafted in Canada, Hardline's ice pad has revolutionized curling for over a decade. Engineered with top-tier precision and durability, it is backed by an unmatched 10-year warranty. Designed for curlers at all levels to sweep effortlessly with maximum efficiency, it is trusted by the world's best curlers, including Olympic and world champions. It is quite simply the best brew in the game. Hardline, join the revolution.
Don't forget your brooms.
You got it.
Come on up. Okay, well, what do you got? You got 1, you got 2, yeah.
Just one more throw, please.
You make moments like these possible.
We're back here in end number 6 of the Saville Grand Prix from the Saville Community Sports Center. Schmel along with Shawn, Joyce. It's Korey Dropkin trailing by 1 with the hammer here in the 6th. And let's get a quick update on our other game, Shawn.
Sure. The other semifinal, you've got Maeda with a 4-1 lead over Davies. That game they're in the 6th as well, and Davies has last rock there. Got one final on the women's side already. Sun Young Ha from Chuncheon, Korea, with a 8-2 win over Isabel Rana. That moves her into the final in just a little bit. And Carrie Anderson ahead of Caitlin Lawns by a score of 3-2 as they play in the 6th. Anderson has last rock there.
So that last end was kind of back and forth between the two squads there. It looked like the Dropkin was going to have a real opportunity there.
Yeah, I mean, and the other side of that is it's hard to know just exactly what Korey had in mind as to how aggressively he wanted to play there. I don't know how we got the final from the Ha-Rana game on our scoreboard,
Yeah,
but
I was going to see. I was going to try to get a bet in with you on the outcome.
But you know what? That's a situation, and you see teams play it for it all the time, where they want that last rock in the even end. So Korey is probably pretty happy with the blank, actually. Yes, he's one down still, but he's got the hammer in the sixth. Presumably, that gives you 2 hammers to 1. This is a no-tick rock, though.
It appears they just ticked it.
Yeah.
Oh, good move by Andrew to avoid more housekeeping. Andrew realizing that if it wrecked into that other guard, they'd have to put that back too. So
yeah, I've got the other screen up myself. That looks pretty close right there where they've got it. Okay. Yeah, to finish that thought, Korey was probably pretty happy to get the blank. He likes having the hammer here. Now, that's not a great start to this end for them, but this is where you'd like to score your 2. If you happen to get forced here, you're tied up. You try to force back in 7, and you've got another chance to win the game with a deuce in 8. Now, the downside to that is that there's another team out there, and they have their own idea how they want to play these last 3 ends, and sometimes...
they always have a saying in the NFL, the other guys get paid too.
Yeah.
I think they probably want that just a touch deeper.
Maybe a hair. It's not bad where it is.
And we're going to see some rock removal here from Stopera.
This is the 6th rock, so he can make a play on that guard now.
And he makes them both go. Another nice double peel by Andrew Stopera.
Didn't miss the stone at the back of the button by much.
Andrew has been money on them today.
Just over the top of the back one. Maybe missed it by a foot.
And for those of you who have never skipped a game of curling, you think a foot's a lot, but by the time you compound the angles of the distance, it's about a 32nd of an inch.
Yeah, on 2 rocks that were that far apart to begin with, for sure. Not sure if they got...
go ahead.
Yeah, not sure if they got that far enough underneath. There might be a chance to make the hit, roll in behind cover, and it might clip that yellow at the back of the button. You're playing the hit and roll in here first, and if it happens to catch that rock, that's a bonus.
So Stopera trying to catch this roll underneath the corner guard. Now Wheeler's going to try to make a curl and walk it over. They get it. You're going to get the roll, but it's going to roll out. But can they get it to spin back? Maybe. It does just hang on the edge.
That's enough to make things interesting, because it's if Kevin Cooey ignores it, that's the stone that could end up on the board, giving Dropkin the lead. So Kevin's not going to ignore it, and that means Dropkin's going to have a shot to get at that shot stone on the next one.
So here's Tardy firing one all the way out to the wings. Gets set. Roll coming all the way back and behind. Nice shot.
Yeah, that's a pretty good shot. That's the best he could do. I mean, it didn't matter really where he rolled as long as he stayed in. Probably didn't want to roll behind that corner guard. He would have been behind the tee, behind the corner. It's another rock that they could have used, but where it is, it probably prevents any chance at the blank.
I'd like to thank everybody who's joining us today on Curling Stadium. We have over 1,300 of you online with us right now. And if you haven't liked us, give us a like. If you haven't subscribed, doesn't cost you anything, helps us out, helps us bring you more great curling. So click those buttons.
I thought you were going to say, if you don't like us, keep it to yourself.
If you don't like us, click the thumbs down twice.
There was never any doubt that Korey was going to make a play at the shot rock here. The question was just exactly what are they going to try to do with it? Did they try to move it? Did they just freeze? The problem with freezing is you have a hard time getting to.
Got to hurry to get past this guard. Got to get past it. Oh, you just wicked it.
Now,
oh boy.
Does stay in the rings, and there is potentially a double on the two reds later, so that could matter. But for now, Kevin Koe a chance to bring a third one in and get something in front of the tee line.
That just looked a little bit tight right off his hand. Now Tardy. And Team Koe's going to try to see if they can take advantage of this situation.
Well, and he's awfully tight by the guard, and that should mean that if he's in the house, it's going to come out the other side.
He is not going to be in the house. So that certainly changes the situation. I mean, my first instinct looking at it is just to kind of tap and roll underneath a little bit.
Yeah, tougher to make that now. That's a tight guard. You got to get to the inside if you're going to roll underneath.
I think we've seen enough finish to do that.
Maybe. You can certainly get there with a draw to throw enough weight to get it through the rings. I am not sure. This looks like they're playing the draw. Even with the draw, I wouldn't mind moving it a few inches just to give yourself a little bit more room to score two.
This one needs to bend. Now, usually right about here, it takes off.
Yeah, if he's got draw weight, that shouldn't be a problem.
It's a little bit spicier than draw.
Yeah, he left room to get to the inside, too.
Yeah, definitely not the best outcome.
Well, and now if Kevin Koe could get to the inside, move it the same amount back, like he's looking to have about the same amount of weight, but get to the inside, roll under cover, he'll be in front of the tee line. Korey's going to have to move it to be able to score, and I'm not sure how he gets at it. Might have to play the double raise, just even if he gets the double peel.
Here's the first for Koe. Now, right here is where it's been turning. And there it goes. And there it went.
Yeah, they just missed the line call there.
That's a big miss.
Well, it is for a couple of reasons. Look at where it ended up. It spun back. I'm wondering, can Korey, I don't know whether he'd play it or not, but could you get to the inside of the yellow with enough weight to go yellow, red, red, and kind of roll both? Like it'll come off the side of that red into the back one. Could you get both yellows behind cover, or one behind cover and one frozen?
Ooh.
See, that's what I'm looking at. If you get to the inside of the yellow, chisel off it, because that yellow is going to come off the side of the red towards the other red at the back forefoot.
The biggest question is you have to be really close to that long yellow.
No, I don't think you do, because all the movement is from the hog line in, so you still can be out there a bit as you cross that long guard is a long ways out there. It's only just starting to move as it comes by that one.
Yeah.
He's looking at just playing this as a straight draw, which is fine, but then I don't think you want a dead berry, because if you dead berry, you're leaving the inside of this yellow rock, and Kevin will try to roll in off of it. You want to be edge to edge, probably at most, maybe even a sliver overlapped.
So there's plenty cooking here in the 6th. Dropkin's going to try to find the right recipe.
In a perfect world, I think you want to just bite the top of the button and leave it maybe an inch overlapped on your own stone. Kevin's not going to have an easy time getting either one of them out. And he needs to get one of them out just to hold you to 2. Big shot.
Here's the first on the way for Korey Dropkin. Wheeler's on it right away. They got it out there. Now here comes that curl. Do you have the weight that you need? The curl is coming. Every ounce of the curl is coming. Is the weight there? Left it just short again. They do lie shot stone. And 4th, it is Kiwi 2-3.
Yeah, and Kevin can't really do anything from that out-turn side, I don't think. So he might have to play the in-turn draw. Hard to put an in-turn draw in a spot where Korey couldn't play the stone that he just threw back onto whatever you're about to deliver. Yeah, that's what I'm looking at. If you just come around just to the very top of the forefoot, you're giving him 1, but how does he ever get 2? Because the slash on the yellow now would be far enough in to get second shot. If you bring this in far enough to steal, he's going to have the angle on the stone that he just threw for 2.
And I think if you didn't throw right now, you probably can come to the nose of that one and make 3.
You're thinking it'll get all 3 of the reds? Maybe.
I think he'll get to that second one. I don't think you have to worry about the third one.
I guess it depends on the weight you throw. If you're on the nose on the first one, it's going to roll a bit, but I guess you don't have to throw it that hard. You're right.
Here's Kiwi with his last one.
He just wants to be full top 4.
This is going to be no problem being at least that much.
Yeah, no, he's heavy.
And it is
too far.
All the way back. It's really close for a shot. I do believe it's Cooey by a millimeter. Really tough to see, though. You don't think so?
No, I think it's yellow. So Korey will just have to follow it down.
Yeah, okay, they think it's yellow. Just draw on in. Well, you have all the backing in the world for this. Just get the line right and get it there.
Yeah, you do, but that's always the danger when you start thinking in your mind that, well, I can throw to the back one if you throw this a little strong, and we've seen it all weekend.
You'll chip it right off.
It won't get the curl. Like if you're a little bit too deep, they don't take that same big swing coming in. He chips off. That red's not going anywhere. It's right up against the red behind it, so it's not going to go anywhere. And you don't have very far to roll before you're still only counting one. If you're going to get the curl to get to the back one, you probably have to have draw weight.
Right here, this is where communication is going to be key. Korey Dropkin needs a button. Final stone at number 6. Line 1. Trying to get his deuce. Hardly touching it now.
Line looks good.
The line does look very good. Now here it comes. Now they don't think they can hurt it. Just make sure it's there. Bring it in. Bring it home. All the way there. And yes, you did get it. And that's your 2. Well, that's 1 for sure. Now we're taking another look. And it is indeed 2. So Dropkin gets his deuce. It's 4-3 after 6. We'll be back. You're watching Curling Stadium.
Imagine being able to stream every curling game from every sheet from any event, be it your Wednesday league game, bonspiel, or corporate event. Curling Stadium offers an all-inclusive streaming solution featuring high-quality cameras, ease of use, great reliability, and minimal installation. Offering your sponsors customizable ad space on your streamed curling games and being able to sell video packages to your corporate events for increased revenue. With Curling Stadium, you can stream to any device, be it your mobile phone, tablet, or computer. Push the feed to your desired platform, be it Facebook, YouTube, or any other social media. Curling Stadium is simply the way forward. Where it's commonplace in other sports to televise every game, we want to do the same. Curling is a global sport, and it's time it gets the coverage it needs. Make your curling club the next Curling Stadium.
7th in action. Back here from the Saville Community Sports Center, it's the Saville Grand Prix. Brought to you by Asham Hardline and Curling Stadium. Dave Schmel and Shawn Joyce with you. And Dropkin. Hard-fought deuce there in the 6th. What do you expect here in 7, Shawn?
Well, we're going to see some rocks in play. We're going to see some angles because Korey Dropkin does not want to see a blank end here. He's happy to see a single point go up on the board this end, and he doesn't care which team scores it. If he steals one, he's 2 up coming home. If he gets the force, he's got last rock in a tie game. So both of those are good for him. Kevin Cooey, on the other hand, knows that. He'd love to blank this end and have last rock coming home, but I've said this on the air before. We were talking about it a bit during the break. It's kind of tongue-in-cheek, but it's true at the same time. Whenever you get into a situation where that opposition is trying so hard to force you, you have to be open to the possibility that they're going to force you to 3. And as much as I say that tongue in cheek, that happened for Kevin this morning. He got 3 in the 7th end, trailing by 1. So it's those things can happen. I mean, Korey Dropkin does not want to see a blank end here very bad.
And this stone from Wheeler is going to be on his own, but
it's not what I called. It's not a horrible result for him though, because it still makes the blank a little tougher. There's rocks in play.
So Carrick Martin hops up to assist Tyler Tardy on the sweep.
This is one of those things. It's going to be interesting to see how the Cooey team approaches things when Sluchinski comes back. He's used to being a skip himself, and for much of the last 2 seasons, Tardy and Martin have been the sweeping tandem because Tardy is left-handed, so you keep both guys on their natural side, and the second has been holding the broom for Kevin on his last one, and Aaron, of course, being a skip, would be no stranger to that. We're not going to find out this weekend, but something to watch for in the coming weeks.
Now here's Stopera, and they're
needs to stick this run back. Yeah,
looking for the run back. Needs to curl up a little bit to stick it. End up catching both of their own.
Yeah, not ideal. Would have liked to have stuck the run back. It wasn't even critical to make the double. You just run it straight back, jam, and leave a yellow at the top of the 8-foot. Now Kevin Cooey can play a fairly risk-free end, just play to the open side. Korey Dropkin makes a couple of doubles. He'll have the chance to blank.
Well, if we explain it anymore, there's no point in even throwing them.
Well, there is, because it gets interesting later on in the end, because we talk about these teams and what they'd like to play, and everybody's got their preference. Would you like to be 1 down with last rock? We've seen a number of deuces in this game, so the conditions here are certainly conducive to scoring with last rock. There are teams that like to be the front runner, so they'd be okay being 1 up without last rock. And where it comes to play later on in the end, and I've never seen a team do it yet, but if you are, well, I shouldn't say that. I've maybe seen 1 or 2 teams do it, but it's pretty rare. But let's say you've decided that you're the kind of team that we'd rather be 1 down, but have last rock. If you're sitting 1 with your last rock, why wouldn't you take it out and roll out and blank the end? And you ask teams that, and they don't usually have an answer for it. I won't say I've never seen anybody do it, but it's rare. And if you insist that you'd rather have last rock, that's the shot, right? There's the other side of that. If you're Korey Dropkin's team and you've decided you definitely don't want a blank end here, you'd like last rock, prefer to be 1 down with. If Kevin Cooey's sitting 1, when you throw your last one, why do you draw open side and let him hit for 2? Do you play the
really
freeze, make him blank? You're not hitting, not likely, if you don't want him blanking. So there's a few shots yet to come before we get to that point. But because all of these teams, and it's not just the 5 rock, they've been talking about this back to the 4 rock and even back to the 3. Do you want to be 1 up without last rock coming home, or 1 down with, which is a better situation to be in? And it can come down to the ice and the rocks. And certainly here at the Saville Center this week, the ice and the rocks give you plenty of chances to score 2 with last rock. I think most teams here probably are the opinion they'd like to have last rock coming home. And it can affect how you play the last couple on an open end like this.
And we see ourselves moving to that. We just saw Andrew Stopera rifle off a double on the ones in the middle. And now we're here on the big old split house and trying to ease it over. And we're going to dance back and forth here for a while. Stone on the way from Tardy. This is just going to be dead nose.
Well, double's probably there. It's flat.
Just making sure they have their weight choice down. Going to throw the intern at it.
Yeah, so I think he's going after the double here, throwing the intern to get that gear effect, get a little more action off the first hit.
This needs to curl up just a touch. It's going to be pretty close. Oh, just underneath. Ever so close to being brilliant. But things are a little bit different because there's, with that stone being left in the center, there's a maximum amount of split available. You can only go about 6 feet. Can't go 12 now. And stone comes down from Tyler Tardy, and it's going to settle just a touch behind. So they'll be able to come on over and approach it. I wouldn't be surprised if Korey actually takes a run at making this.
Yeah, I think he's going to. If you're going to hit the center one first, you may as well try to make the double here. If you're trying to set it up for the next shot, you probably play the one on the outside, try to roll towards the middle, and like you said, there's a maximum distance. You hit it this one first, just hit and roll over. Kevin rolls back to the other side, and he can put 8 feet between those rocks. Don't think he's going to be light here either.
So Dropkin trying to make this flat double. On it and just catching it on the backhand side. It's still Kiwi line shot. Just did not come up far enough.
Yeah, he's going to split the rings, so he's going to take his deuce here.
Does that surprise you at all, Terry? No, Shawn. Sorry.
Well, no, and only because, you don't. it goes into the mind games part of it. You'd hate to throw this to a spot where you leave them a double, because then it looks very deliberate, like so then the opposition knows what you're doing. You just don't want to give them anything psychologically. Like if you throw this to the center line and say, go ahead and make your double, you've pretty much told them, we think we can score 2 on you in 8. And psychologically, that's not something you want to give them. He's also, they're one of the best hitting teams in the world, and he's probably pretty confident in their chance to hold Korey Dropkin to a single in 8.
And no double to be had there.
No.
So just want to hit and stick, lie shot, and hope for the best. So Korey Dropkin from Southborough, Massachusetts, currently residing in Duluth, Minnesota, currently located in Edmonton, Alberta, with his final of the 7th.
And hoping to be here for a few more hours.
Wheeler on this one hard the whole time. It's gonna roll on out, so it'll be a free draw to paint for 2.
Well, it will be if he wants to play it.
If he wants it.
This is the situation we talked about, and I actually thought about that when Korey was going down. Would you ever hit and roll out there and force Kevin Cooey to make a decision? And he didn't think about it too long. But this is that situation we talked about earlier on the end. If you really were that team that said, I want to be one up or one down with last rock playing the 8th end, you could peel your own out here in blank. And I'm not going to say I've never seen it done, but it's rare. Extremely rare.
Kevin Cooey, final stone. And number 7 just needs a piece of the rings.
Martin on it early and Tardy coming out to join him.
Got to make sure it's there. Don't think it's going to be any problem. Just dust it on in. Hang the 2. It's 5-4 in favor of Kevin Cooey. We'll have the 8th end from the Saville Grand Prix. When we come back, you're watching Curling Stadium.
I don't remember a time when curling wasn't a part of my life. When I wasn't putting in the sweat and hard work to be the best that I can be. Clocking in the time, the effort to practice day in, day out. Curling is more than just a game. It's a family, a community. And when it's time to play, I know I'll be ready. Hardline, supporting hundreds of our next generation athletes.
For over 20 years, the Sandra Schmurler Foundation has granted more than $9 million to hospitals across Canada for life-saving equipment for premature and critically ill babies. In the past 4 years alone, $4 million has been granted thanks to the curling community's incredible generosity. The need continues year-round, and with your help, we can ensure every baby has the chance to grow up and become a champion, just like Sandra.
Join us this March for the House of Hearts Charity Bonspiel in Duluth, Minnesota. Help raise funds for Project Joy, who provides meals for hungry kids in our community. Every donation helps to ensure no child goes hungry. Join us and make a difference. Together.
And we're back here. It's the 8th end from the Saville Community Sports Center. The Saville Grand Prix. Kevin Cooey got 2 in 7. Korey Dropkin has the hammer here in the 8th. I'm Dave Schmel. I'm joined by Shawn, Joyce, and all of our closest friends watching us from all over the world. Thank you for tuning in to Curling Stadium.
I thought you were going to say all our closest friends, both of them. Center guard throwing up to start, and boy, it looks like it's just touching the center line, the corner. Looks like Kevin Cooey's going to throw another center, so it's always interesting to see how a team's going to approach this year. Only one up coming home. If you don't have last rock, there are a number of teams that feel like you almost have to play this like a hard steal, and if you get the force, you get the force, but you come right in, and it's awfully hard to prevent a team from scoring 2. Well, I do think it looked like he called the guard. I don't think he's going to get it.
It does come to the back 4.
Yeah, it is buried. That's interesting. I don't know whether you caught that, but Korey Dropkin pulled the stopwatch out of his pocket. And this is something I saw the game this morning. I wasn't sure that we weren't seeing the speed change down the middle. So Korey wants to get a split on this draw because he might have to draw down the middle with his last one. And he wants to know if that speed's holding up down the middle in this 8th end.
And this one is not light.
Well, and that makes it a little hard to know with the stopwatch because he didn't get really to that middle path. Because he was a little warm out of his hand, it stayed wider, stayed in what we call the good stuff all the way down.
So Cooey's just going to come on down. And he first tapped to come all the way down. Now he says top 8.
Yeah, he doesn't have to come down to it yet. You know that Korey's probably going to peel the center guard on the next one. It won't necessarily be a straight peel. Like I think he probably peels the guard, tries to roll to a corner on the other side.
So Kark Martin on the intern.
Yeah, this is a much better line coming in. This will get into that middle path.
And that came right on over. And they lie 1-2.
Yeah, this is a tough spot. I mean, you could peel the guard and roll to the corner. The problem is it's those 2 stones in the button area. He could actually put a better guard on them. Do you need to move them now? Maybe.
Would he ever corner one of them?
Well, I mean, that's essentially overlapping them.
Looks like he's throwing a broom to maybe just jostle it a little bit.
Yeah, I think so. And I mean, you want to stay kind of cornered in front of it, but I think you need to move the back red a little bit just to make sure you got a clear path to get the top one out.
This one stayed out in the good stuff. Now it's coming on in. And we are going to jostle him around a little bit. Shuffle the deck. Kind of change the landscape somewhat.
Yeah, I don't know if that's better. It's a pretty big wall at the back of the button. If Kevin Cooey draws one to the top of the button right now, how do you ever get it out? I'd like to see it. Right there. Yeah, that's the one. You put it right there. How does that ever leave? Because even if you get a chance to hit it later on, it's coming off the red into the yellow at the side.
Well, let's see where it ends up. Tyler Tardy can put his squad in a good spot.
You are a master of the understatement.
My friends, all 2 of them. Martin walking this one over.
Oh,
and that is going to come right down, right where you put the broom, buddy.
Yeah. I mean, Dropkin's always going to have a shot to score because he can always come off the yellow. But right now, how do you ever get 2?
Don't you have to throw that now?
Well, I mean, maybe, because it might be the only way to set up a shot to get that red one out.
And he touched that rock right away. I think you have to come off your own now. But
if you're
they're
doing
going to
this,
have a little powwow.
Yeah, I think you're throwing some weight if you're doing this. You'd like to come. You look at where the front end of that yellow is. So you're coming off the front end of the yellow. You're trying to actually get to the front end of the red at the back of the button and maybe come up and jiggle one of those other 2. I mean, this rock that you're about to throw probably doesn't stay in the button area for the whole end. But you need to change the angles on those 2 stones in front of the tee line if you're ever going to have a chance for 2. I think you're right. I think you have to throw this now just because otherwise Kevin Cooey's throwing a guard. You have to get something in there where Kevin has to make a play in the rings. You can't let him throw double guards.
So it's going to be a huge shot here for Andres DePera.
He's got to come across, catch the top end of that second red, and then hopefully spin up. And you'd love to move one of the other 2 reds at least. You won't move it very far, but you got to give yourself a shot off one of them.
Stone's on the way. Playing the out turn to get lots of action.
Yeah, he needs this very thick.
And off. There you go. He come right on up to the pin. I think that's a pretty good outcome. How about you, buddy?
Yeah, it's all right. I would have loved to have moved one of those yellows. He just kind of nestled into them. It's hard to tell from this angle if Kevin Koe gets to the red at the top of the forefoot to move that yellow. Will it move the red one at the side of the forefoot? It's hard to tell. It looks like they're pretty close to touching. Ooh. Hard to say who's second shot right now, too. Could be the yellow at the back.
But most importantly, it did change those angles, and I feel like Korey's going to have a chance here at some point, at least to score and force the extra.
There's a good look at it from Tyler's end. So I don't think the yellow's touching the red. We can see air, which means he can probably pass it by the red without disturbing the angle. He's got to get close to the nose, though. Got room by the front one.
Yep, and now this is where it takes that turn.
Yeah, and they'll carve it now. He wants to get close to the nose. Looks like they just played it like a freeze.
Oh, frozen it is.
Well, that's not bad. I mean, the middle red right now in that red-yellow or red-red-yellow combination, that middle red, it's not going anywhere. And that's the problem stone for Korey Dropkin. In order to even set up something to get rid of that red stone, he has to lose his own yellow at the back, the shot stone. He doesn't really want to do that very bad. They're going to call timeout. Don't know if they have a coach in attendance. If they do, this might be one of those situations where the coach comes out, and I've had this happen with teams I was coaching where they call you out and they ask you, well, what do you think we should do? And I said, well, try to switch the scoreboard because you'd like to be throwing red right now. It's that Yellowstone is shot, but it's pretty vulnerable, and it's tough to see a solution as to how what do you even do to deal with that?
That's Mark Lazar, their coach. Coming out to give his input.
Yeah, I guess what I'm looking at, you play the red stone on the side of the forefoot. Try to roll over open a little bit. You can't stay right there. You'll leave a double. Even if you wick that yellow, because moving it over a little bit to the side doesn't hurt you. It's actually not in a good spot for you right now, just because that double red is lined up to it.
Yeah, if you just move it back a little bit, that's not at all.
They're looking at just trying to move it back a foot and leave it behind the yellow. The problem with that is that your yellow stone stays where they can come off it to make a double onto that stone on the button. You have to get your shooter out of there if you're going to play that shot. Your shooter can't stick around. You leave a double on the shot rock on the button. That's not good either. I'm looking at the same thing Andrew, I think, is looking at, where you hit the outside of the red, move your yellow over a little bit, and it's not because you need to move the yellow, it's because you need to not leave that red yellow. You got to change that angle. Right now, Kevin can't miss.
I don't know what good that does yet, putting it right on top of the pile.
Probably none. You actually might make it, because if you're off on the corner at all, you might make it easier for Kevin.
Once again, just want to let you know that it was Ha defeating Rana by a score of 8-2. just in case you guys forgot.
Anderson defeated Laws 7-2, so the women's final is set.
That will be a good one for sure. So Tom Howell settles in here. It's his first of two. Dropkin trailing by 1 here in the 8th. They sit 1, but it's very precarious. On the way down, Lance Wheeler filling in this week. They chap it over a little bit.
Yeah, probably does what they had in mind and the best they could do with it, because now that that yellow on the button not going very far, it's going to jam on something, regardless of how Kevin hits it. Like, he could try to come by everything and just pick it, but then it jams on the red. He can play the red right onto the yellow, but then it jams on the back yellow. It's probably still shot.
I'd like to thank everyone who's joined us from the other games that have concluded. We got a good one here between Kevin Cooey and Korey Dropkin. Dropkin trailing by 1 with the hammer here.
They've all concluded now. Takumi Maeda scored 4 in the 7th to take an 8-4 win over Zach Davies. So just the one game left, the one semifinal left to be determined. And I'm not sure we're going to determine this one this end. It could still take an extra.
I'm Dave Schmel, and that was Shawn Joyce here with you. And you guys are watching Curling Stadium, and this has been a treat. So here comes the stone on the way from Tyler Tardy.
Looking to tap red onto yellow.
And they move everything just about 1.5 inches.
Yeah, that's looking like a force kind of a shot. If they wanted to try to get the steal out of this and end the game this end, they probably had to try to move the back yellow, which, then you might splash things a little bit more than that. Now, I'm not sure what Korey can do here. How much risk do you want to take on here?
Well, if you think that's where we're at, is there a good guard to throw?
Well, what are you guarding? Like,
I don't know.
Kevin can't get the shot rock out now. It's going to jam on the back yellow. What I'm looking at is how much risk do you want to take on? You could play red. It's going to hit the yellow. It's going to jam on the back yellow. Now that red that's corner frozen on shot rock will spill out to the side when you do that. So you might have a shot to come in off something for 2 if you play that. The problem is that Kevin gets to throw another rock in between, and I'm not sure what you're going to leave, because it just depends on how they spray when they do that, and you're going to lose one of your stones that's working for backing right now.
Could he ever throw a draw and weasel down for shot, just coming right along the line of those stones as they lie?
It's hard to tell from this camera angle. I'm not sure that he can get second shot. You look at where that red stone is biting the top of the button, because it's a little off center on the yellow. Like, if you get to the face of the yellow, I'm not sure you're second. You're certainly not playing it here, because you sliver off something and Kevin might have a shot to blast. I'm not sure it's even there on the last one. But what you could do, and again, I'm not saying you do it, if you play this with some weight, red onto the red at the top of the button, the yellow jams at the back of the button, and that red at the top of the button should spill over into the open somewhere. You'd have that rock to come off with your last one. The problem is Kevin gets to throw one in between, and you might not have a shot.
That seems to always be the rub. Kevin gets to throw one.
Yeah.
So you see the one from Howe here. They're looking to come to the top 12. Take 3 guard. Help me out, buddy. I don't know what that did.
Well, it keeps Kevin from being able to play red
Yeah.
onto yellow, jam the back one, and have a way to get that one out. Kevin puts the draw in right there. He can slash it in on the next one. And the angle on the 2 yellows, if you're coming from that way, is just enough off of a dead jam that you can probably spill it out. I don't think he can get at shot rock on the in turn. What Tyler's looking at, if you hit the yellow, the open one, could he come across, hit the back end of the red, push it up? And I don't think you can. I'm sure I couldn't. Let's put it that way.
Well, I tried to this morning and I couldn't, so. A lot of commentary in our chat here. And Cooey's going to take their timeout.
Yeah. See, if you think you could get to that, and I don't know whether you can make it or not, if you think you could get to the side of that red stone that's sitting second shot right now, could you ever hit the back red one thin enough to come across and catch that yellow out of the back of the forefoot? You double those 2 out of the back, and now anything you make contact with, that yellow leaves off the button. But I don't know whether you can see enough of it. Like take the yellow guard and the 2 stones out of the top of the 8-foot, take them away. That red stone that's at the top of the button is pretty much dead buried, maybe slightly over buried on the guard. He can only see an inch of it, which, if the back yellow is not there, that's enough to make the shot. With the back yellow there, though, it jams. I think they've gone back to the initial call. Just play the draw to the top of the 8-foot, put it in a spot where you can angle it in, and let Korey Dropkin figure out what he wants to do with that rock.
So Cooey's rock is on the way. Martin on this aggressively.
Yeah, this is over curling. He's going to need to chip off to have the angle that he needs.
They chip off the second one.
That still works, though. He's got angle red onto yellow. The one he just threw onto the second shot stone. And the angle coming from that direction, those 2 yellows at the back are offline enough that they should both go.
So are we in a situation where the force is almost certainly on now and Dropkin has to guard for his life?
Well, yeah, guard what, though? Because Kevin can probably afford to run that back. I'm not seeing any risk. If you guard, he just runs the guard back. Yellow onto the red at the top of the button. Korey's looking at now, do we get to the inside of it and try to push it back? That would work, because then his shooter rolls over into a spot where you can't make that shot.
A lot of folks in the chat, just like a really long guard. Timeout again for Dropkin.
Yeah, they've called the timeout.
Now you see Stoparis thinking of putting a rock up there, maybe giving them a bailout opportunity.
Something they could slash in with the last one. Yeah, maybe. I think you have to do something with this other side, because that's the red onto yellow is just too easy. It does look like he can see the face of the red stone. He could try to come into it. It's risky. If you're anything on the outside, you probably make it easier.
They're looking pretty hard now at the long guard and trying to maybe foul it with the middle guard.
Yeah. It's tough to hook this under the longer guard and still do anything, because if you leave Kevin the outside of that red stone, that's all he needs. You have to take away the outside of the stone, and that means you've got to stay a little bit wider. And I don't think he can hurt himself playing the yellow one back. The yellow one, the one you're about to throw me. I mean,
oh, sure.
I just don't see how he hurts himself playing it back. So you need some separation for sure. He still might play it.
Well, we have a good one here in Edmonton, and it's the first of two in the eighth here for Korey Dropkin. He lies shot, but it is precarious. Cooey already lining up his shot.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
It is up there. It is long. It is runnable.
Yeah, it is. Now, the question is he going to take it on? I don't see any way he hurts himself playing it.
So just basically run that yellow onto the red, and kill the yellows.
Yeah. And if he doesn't make it, I think we're headed to an extra end, because I'm not sure I see any way to score two. If he makes it and you're Korey Dropkin, you have to hope that stone at the top of the button spins somewhere, and I don't know that it's going to.
So here comes Kevin Cooey.
He wants to be just a sliver low on this yellow one.
He winds and fires his final of the eighth. Martin watching it on its way down. Can be right on the nose, on the one, down to the other. Oh, and
Yeah.
It doesn't catch it.
He didn't get low. It stayed right on the nose. Now,
And
did
now
he leave
with that
something?
one there,
Yeah. He left him something to come off of.
I think you can make that, buddy.
You can, I think. I don't think you're trying to come into the back yellow. I think you're trying to roll right to the back corner of the forefoot. You don't even need to touch. You don't want to touch either of the yellows. You're trying to roll fairly flat. He can't throw it too quiet.
Well,
normal. You don't need
if
to.
you come into contact with a shot stone, if you do roll it flat, I don't know that you can hurt yourself.
Well,
if
not
anything else,
necessarily.
you'll change the rock that counts.
As long as you don't throw peel. And I don't think you need to. You're just trying to roll to the back corner of the button. But it is a flat roll. You're hitting it fairly thick. So you can't really do it with bumper. You won't roll far enough with as much as you need to hit. But you don't need to throw peel either.
So got to find that perfect line, that perfect weight. Korey Dropkin lines up a shot for the win. He lies one. He'll be Wheeler and Stopera with the broom. Final stone of the 8th. Now trying to bring it over off and on, back and forth. They like it. It's pretty close. Hit it. Roll it over. Do you have it?
Touched his
Yes,
own, but I
you
think
do.
he's got 2.
And that is 2, and that's the win for Korey Dropkin with a fantastic flat roll over to score the deuce, and they take a 6-5 win over Kevin Cooey.
One more look at it. As we said, he's got to hit this first one fairly thick, and that's why he needs the extra weight when you're hitting that thick to get that little bit of a roll. And it's only a 3-foot roll, but you have to throw it hard when you're throwing that thick. It's just the firm side of normal. Rolls across, touches his own stone, and picks up the win. Moves him into the final.
Absolutely fabulous shot for Korey Dropkin there. One that he needed, one that he knew that he had in the bag. What other thoughts do you have about this game, Shawn?
Well, it was an exciting game all the way through, and fitting that it was a big shot for the win. We saw a lot of big shots in the game, a lot of rocks in play, and 3 of them touching the button when he goes to throw the last one, puts a 4th one in to get the second point. Great game for both teams, but exciting for Dropkin to get into the final.
Oh, absolutely. It was a great game, and we're going to look forward to seeing you guys for the finals. That will come up at 6:30 Eastern Time, 4:30 Mountain. But for right now, I'm Dave Schmel. For Shawn, Joyce, and Connor Sims, we thank you so much for joining us here on Curling Stadium. Thanks for watching.
I don't remember a time when curling wasn't a part of my life. When I wasn't putting in the sweat and hard work to be the best that I can be. Clocking in the time, the effort to practice day in, day out. Curling is more than just a game. It's a family, a community. And when it's time to play, I know I'll be ready. Hardline, supporting hundreds of our next generation athletes.